It says it has foiled a coup attempt after a group of soldiers in the West African nation led by Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri announced on national television that they had ousted the president and seized power. The foreign minister refuted those claims, saying the majority of the National Guard and the military remain loyal to President Patrice Talon. A government spokesperson says 14 people have been arrested in connection with that attempt to take control. Let's take a listen now to the Interior Minister.
Fellow countrymen and women, on this Sunday, December the 7th, 2025, in the early morning, a small group of soldiers engaged in mutiny in order to destabilize the state and its institutions. Before this situation, the Benin armed forces and their hierarchy, faithful to their oath, remained republican. They fought back and allowed the situation to remain under control and to fail the maneuver. Thus, the government invites the population to keep acting as usual. Thank you.
For more on this, we can bring in Beverly Oshing, Senior Analyst in Control Risks Global Risk Analysis from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Benin here has largely been considered one of Africa's more stable democracies. So did news of this coup come as a shock to you?
Well, it did feel quite surprising, it happening so soon into the election. Obviously, there has been some political grievances. There are two other political opponents of Talon who have been arrested, charged, and jailed in connection with coup attempts, but it didn't seem as if it was going to build up to a real staged attempt, making it all the way to state TV. However, from what we can see, the group that attempted to seize power, which was led by Colonel Tigri Pascal, did not have as much consolidation as they may have thought. If you look into their statement, they seem to be trying to tap into ongoing grievances. They accuse the president, for instance, of not leading the country well, of cracking down on the opposition, various other socioeconomic issues, and perhaps they were trying to trigger protests that would lead to support for them, but the government says that it has taken back control. However, the situation will remain fluid until there's certainty over who actually is in charge, given what has happened.
Now, Beverly, President Patrice is going to be stepping down in April with new elections to be held. Do you think that the timing of the elections had some impact as to why they acted now?
Likely various issues. Yes, there will be elections next year, starting with legislative elections and then presidential elections. A few weeks ago, there was some changes to the constitution, which then extended the presidential mandate to 7 years. But I understand that these do not take into effect after this election. In fact, Talon already has a hand-picked successor, who is the current finance minister, who will likely be the one who would be the front runner of this election. There have been long-running grievances since Talon's second term came into effect. In 2019, there had been protests over legislative elections. They seemed one of the most pronounced instances of political protest in the country. But by and large, despite this, Benin has maintained a level of stability, has maintained a level of openness. And so this will be a test to its institutions and whether it is still able to continue consolidating that power and support within the institutions, especially the military and with the opposition.
Now, Beverly, you mentioned there a moment ago that there's a couple